Hi, it's Steph, and I'm at Lowe's. And today we're going to take a look at the January inventory, and they have a bunch of new beautiful houseplants. So let's go ahead and take a look. We'll start with these beauties right here, and you can see how interesting it looks to have different colors, different foliage, different leaf sizes. It really makes like an indoor garden when you are picking houseplants to arrange in your home. I really love this one right here. This is called a silver dragon alocasia, and look how gorgeous these leaves are. They have like a silvery blue appearance and a really unique shape, kind of like an arrow. They're stunning. So most houseplants like a good amount of light. Let's see what these say. This particular one here says medium to high light, water when the top inch of soil dries, and temperatures above 50 degrees. So if you put this in a good sunny spot and water it occasionally, it should do fairly well for you. Now, you can tell that this has recently been watered because the soil is pretty moist. So when you take this home, you wouldn't have to water it right away. Let the soil dry out before you give it some water. The fastest way to get fungus gnats is to overwater, and it'll also start rotting out your plant. Let's see how much these are. Now these are the Costa Farms planters, and they are $19.98, and these appear to be a 6-inch container. And right beside it, they have this really unique, smaller scale Monstera. Now Monsteras are beautiful because they have these cut leaves. That's a characteristic of them. And let's see, this one's also 6-inch planter, $19.98, and it is called Mini Monstera. Really pretty. If you're looking for bigger plants to make an impact, look how gorgeous the leaves on this one is. So pretty, and there's a bunch of new ones coming up. So it looks like they start off a bit more green and then they get this silvery gray appearance. This is gorgeous. Let's see what this is called. This one says it likes low light. I'm fancy and carefree in Aglaonema. Brightly colored foliage is its best feature, and it's durable and easy to grow, and it can grow in areas of lower light. That's amazing. And this is a pretty good size container, and this one here is $49.98. It looks like it's a 3.76 gallon container. And talk about making an impact. Look how big these Majesty palms are. These are huge, so these would make quite an impact in the corner of a room or by a large window. These here are $59.98. But they also have a special on these smaller Majesty palms, and these are $14.98. And they will, with proper care, will get just as big as those large ones behind me. These like lots of sun. In fact, in the summer, people often use these as like a tropical type plant on patios, decks, etc. So really cool looking plant. And this cool plant here is a shingle vine, and I actually had someone recently ask me about this one in my last houseplant video over at the Home Depot. Now, they said that they had one of these and that the wood plank had rotted and they had to swap it out. But this is a really cool plant that kind of grows upwards like a vine. It's almost like a trailer, but it climbs instead of hanging down. So where you have things like pothos that will drape and cascade downward, this one wants to climb upward. So it's a really interesting plant. So here it is. It's called a shingle vine. It's Rhapidora Hyee, and it says that it likes medium to high light. And this cool one here is called the Silver Streak Pothos, and this variety of pothos is also different, as in it doesn't trail, but it's an upright type plant. Here is the tag on this one. It's called Silver Streak Pothos. Looks like it likes medium to high light. Really pretty foliage. This plant here is pretty striking. I tried to find the name on it, but it just says varied foliage on the tag here, assorted foliage. They're by Costa Farms. Now these are in those self-watering containers. So they hold a little bit of water in them. They're $15.98, and it's a 1.4 quart, but it's got a really pretty bright creamy color and green striped type foliage. Right above those, we have some combo planters. Now these would make a really great gift, and you get several plants in them. So if someone that you know is a plant lover and you give them one of these, after a few years when they have to repot this, they will end up with a bunch of separate different looking plants. So here there is a waffle plant, what looks to be some kind of Aglaonema, but I could be wrong on that one, and a Dracaena, This one here looks like it has a small version of a palm with a pothos. So just some really pretty combos. A Photonia with another type of dark foliage Dracaena. And these are also one of those self-watering containers. You can see that it has a water gauge at the bottom so that you'll know when this is empty, it's time to re-water. And it's got some kind of wicking system inside that keeps the plant watered. These are $17.98, and they have some decorative moss in them as well. It says medium light plants. Look at this, I'm standing underneath a Majesty palm. That's how tall they are. It's almost like creating a tree effect here. But look how pretty these are. These are what they call ponytail palms, and they call them that because they have this trunk that is decorative here, and at the top it looks like it has a ponytail. Look at that. Here's a picture of the tag. You can see the shape of it a little bit better there. And let's see what it says. It likes highlight on these, and temperature is above 50 degrees. And most times, obviously, if you have a plant in your house, it's going to be 50 degrees. And I think that's more important. The temperature is if you're a person who likes to take your houseplants out in the summertime, then you know that it needs to be above 50 degrees Fahrenheit in order for them to do well. And most plants like to go out for the summer. This rack here has some really beautiful planters and plant arrangements. Some that even look like bonsai. Look at that. So pretty. These are really beautiful in these low dishes with a cool trunk exposed. And I believe that looks like some moss. Let's see. Yes. Interesting. Let's check these out. These like highlight, it says I'm really majestic, bonsai. Now this plant here, I'm not quite sure what it is, but it almost looks like it could be some kind of camellia or gardenia based on just the foliage. I grew an orange tree once as a kid from some seeds from my orange, and it sort of felt like this. This one looks just slightly different. This one almost has an appearance of something like maybe an azalea. Now it doesn't tell me, maybe the tag on the actual container will tell us what the variety is of these bonsai. Let's see. No, it doesn't say. They were grown by Costa Farms in Miami, Florida. These are $30.98. So they're a little higher in price, but they come in a porcelain planter and they've been trained into bonsai, so they're a pretty unique piece. Now these planters here are all by Urban Jungle, and they actually have really beautiful planters. The price point on these are going to be a little higher than in the plastic pots, but you're getting a decorative pot. But you can see that there actually is an insert in here, so if you wanted to use a different planter and then keep the pot separately, so you're almost getting like two pieces, right? You'll get a planter and you'll get the plant. Now this here is a calathea, and I've had similar ones to this in the past. I've had the Dottie, the Pink Star, and while they haven't done well for me, some people have good luck with them, and they are an absolutely stunning plant. Just look at this foliage. Beautiful on this side. They almost look painted, and then they have a gorgeous burgundy purple color on the back side. Just stunning. These are just stunning plants, and that's actually not bad. $22.98. And this one here says water when the top 2 inches of soil is dry, and this is a type of Dracaena. You can see there's different patterns. Now that's really important because I think what happened with my calathea is I might have overwatered it, and I killed 2 of them. So very important. Watering is probably the most important thing. Between watering and light, it's the best way to keep your plants happy. Once you get those down, you'll be great at growing houseplants. And this beauty here is a Maranta, also known as a prayer plant. And what is gorgeous about this plant is not only the pattern on the leaves, but it has sort of a velvety appearance. You can kind of see the depth of the screen here. So it's stunning. And what's really interesting too is because it goes by prayer plant, a feature of this that is something I only noticed recently actually, is that in the evening it will close its hands like it's praying, and then in the morning it opens back up. So really cool. And these are smaller containers here. So this one here says it is a Maranta, and let's see how much this smaller size container is. $13.98. And check out this beauty, a neon pothos. Isn't that stunning? It's like electric. This is also an urban jungle plant, and these small ones in the porcelain pot are $13.98. And this here is a smaller version of the Ficus elastica. And look how beautiful these light sage green colored leaves are. There's some variegation on the foliage as well. Really pretty. They have these adorable small hanging type planters, and these are $14.98. Some Dracaena and some pothos. The Dracaena will be spiky, so it'll always be upright, where the pothos will start draping downward. And check out these adorable little head planters with succulents. I love these. I actually want to get a larger size head planter for my garden this summer so I can put a really wild looking succulent trailing out of it. These are beautiful, and these are $11.98, and they have them in this white color as well as a gray cement color. And right beside it, they have these little misters, little plant misters. So these are great for air plants, for succulents, or anything that needs a little bit of moisture or likes humidity, like fiddle leaf figs and ferns, for example. These are really pretty, $10.98. They have this amber color, some clear, and some with a bit of a gray coloring to them. And look at this dark colored one. Isn't that beautiful? So much detail. I love these. And here is a ZZ plant. So in my last plant video, or in my last video that I made, I had mentioned that I had a spot that had low light that I needed a new plant for. And I had a lot of recommendations for a ZZ plant because these do well with lower light. So I actually am interested in picking one of these up. I would prefer to get the dark foliage version, which is the Raven ZZ. So if I can find one of those, it's coming home. But this one in this little planter here, which is a decorative planter with some of this moss in it, is really, really pretty. Look at that. And this one here is $24.98. This is actually the calathea that I had, the Dottie. You can see here. It's got this pretty pink striping in it, and I absolutely loved it. And then one that I bought that looked just like this was called Pink Star. Also has the dark coloring on the back of the foliage. But it just wasn't happy with me. But look at this beauty. It's another one with that silver blue foliage. And let's see what it's called. This is called Moonlight, and it looks like it likes medium to high light. Really pretty leaf color. And these are also $19.98 for this 6-inch planter, and this one has a bunch of new growth coming up there. See that? And here are some great plants to give someone, say they moved into a new home or started a new business. These would make great gifts. We have some bamboo and some money trees, both of which are signs for good luck and prosperity. So this is a variegated type of bamboo, and it's in this decorative type porcelain planter with some rocks, and the rocks are actually glued down, so the pebbles, so they shouldn't fall out, which I'm not quite sure how you would water these, but perhaps they're permeable and would allow for drainage. And these are $15.98, and you can see that the bamboo has been braided, and then right on the side of it they have this solid colored bamboo. There's these here in this rectangular planter that have a really pretty braided shape. Look at that. And these are $15.98. And then here are some money trees. Now this plant, I've had one, I thought it was 3 years, but I've actually had it for 4 years, and it's grown quite a bit. These are fast growers, and they have really large leaves. Little bit of water keeps them happy. A lot of times actually they say to just use a couple of ice cubes to water these, and they do quite well, and they like highlight, and they also have those unique braided type trunks or stems. And if you like beautiful foliage plants with a hint of pink, this is an Aglaonema, and these also like medium to highlight. And here are some fiddle leaf figs that are now marked down from $22.98 to $14.98, which is a great price for these. This is actually a great size plant for $14.98. Now, the thing with fiddle leaf figs is they are beautiful because they have these really large, shiny leaves, but they can be a little bit tricky to grow. They do like some humidity and bright, indirect light. It's taken me about 3 years to get to a spot where mine is now happy and putting on a lot of growth, but they're really beautiful. The leaves do catch some dust, so occasionally you can just get a damp cloth and sort of wipe them down, but really pretty plant. And there's quite a few here in this area that seems to be on a special value, so let's check those out. This fiddle leaf fig here in this back corner actually already has quite a bit of height on it. It's probably about 2 feet tall, so that would look really beautiful in a floor planter. And here's another really cool spiky plant that has multiple trunks. Look at that. And the foliage has like pink tips. We're going to get a little closer to take a look. But these are also in this special value or special buy type plants section, and it's $14.98. Here's a close-up of the foliage. Now, I do a lot of outdoor planting and gardening, and so I have a couple of grasses. This almost reminds me of things like liriope and the way that it grows, or like a wider version of a carex. But you can see here that it has really pretty coloring. It's got a bit of a darker green, some lighter green, almost like a cream, and then some pinkish red on the tips. So just a really beautiful multicolored leaf. This plant is the Madagascar dragon tree, Dracaena marginata. And let's see, it looks like it likes medium light and water when top inch of soil is dry. Temperatures to stay above 50 degrees Fahrenheit and fertilize every 6 months. Medium growth. So this one also looks like a plant that you could put in a floor planter and that it would grow over time and make a really pretty statement in the corner of a room. And they have some really beautiful large hanging baskets of pothos. Now, pothos is a beautiful trailer, and if they get too long, you could always cut off some of the pieces, stick them in some water, and then you have some new plants to pass off to friends and family. So let's check out these varieties. This here is the Marble Queen pothos, and it has this really gorgeous light creamy color with some green. It's just really beautiful. Some of the foliage, it looks like the newer foliage might come out really light and then it darkens to this. But this is stunning. Now you can see how much this trails downward. So you see all of this growth coming off of the plant. Say this got really long and you needed to give the plant a trim. You could cut it right above one of these leaf nodes here and it would start growing some roots. So really, really easy to make new plants from this. You can see right here, these are already starting roots. So if you were to cut this right here, throw it in some water, this would continue to grow roots and form a new plant. And here's a really cool one that I just bought recently for myself to add to my houseplant collection. It is the Swiss cheese plant. And they call it that because obviously, what does it look like? A piece of Swiss cheese. So let's see, this one here is called Little Swiss, and it is a Monstera Andersoni. And it's also $19.98 in a 6-inch planter. And look how cool that is. I love it. In these winter months when we can't be outside in our garden, we turn our attention to our houseplants. So a good thing that you could do in these winter months is any plants that need repotting or that need soil freshened up, this is a great time to do it. And there's different potting mix formulas. You want to make sure that you pick something that is appropriate for the plant that you're growing. So this one, for example, says cactus, palm, and citrus potting mix, and it's a fast draining formula. Now this fast draining formula would be important because all of these types of plants listed on this bag are plants that don't like to sit in a lot of moisture. They like to be on the drier side. So if you had a cactus that you potted in some regular potting mix that maybe retained too much moisture, you could kill your plant. So picking a potting mix that is appropriate for the plants that you're potting is really important. So correct light conditions, not overwatering, and the right soil will make for a combination to grow some great plants. Now we're pretty lucky here at my Lowe's. They usually have a pretty good clearance section for the house plants. In fact, 3 of the house plants I have at home I purchased on clearance, including my fiddle leaf fig that I got for around $5, and it's doing beautifully. But this is how they price the indoor clearance on the house plants, similar to what they do with the outdoor plants in the summer. There is a structure there that tells you how much the plant is and how much the clearance price would be. Now let's take a quick look through the clearance rack. Now this one here, you can see it's been cleaned up a little bit. It has a little bit of discoloration on the tips of the foliage, a little bit of burning. But if you are good with house plants, there's some potential here because you can see that there's already some new growth. So this plant still has life in it. And the price on and you get a pretty planter. So let's see, this one here was it says it was $22.98. So based on that $22.98 price, it would be 50% off. So it would be about $11 and change, $11.50. But if you think about the fact that even just getting a planter like this is going to cost you around there, and you're getting a plant with it to boot, so not bad. Then they have this one here. This is an aglaonema. That's what it is. And it's also in one of the self-watering wick and grow type containers. And it likes low light, also 50% off. And these I want to say were about $15.98, so it would be, let's see if I can tell, 50% off. They also have this section with the really small planters. These are just under 4 inches. They might be like a 3.5-inch to 4-inch planter. And this is a great way to dip your toes into some houseplants, or if you want to just try a different variety. So let's take a look at a few of these. This cutie here is a type of Photonia. It says it's called Juanita, and it has a really pretty pink coloring to it, green and pink. And it has a wick there for watering. And it says it likes low light, and these are $5.48. So these are a great price point for either a beginner or just to add some plants to your collection. Something that you want to try out. Look at this, even a baby prayer plant. How cute is that? $5.98. It's a red Maranta, also likes low light. Has pretty coloring on the back side of the leaves. Really pretty green velvety appearance on the front. Really pretty. And here's a tropical croton or croton. And this here is a plant that sometimes here in New England in my zone 6, they will use as a fall plant outside as a decorative plant along the same time that they put out the mums. And this one also is $5.98. Tropicals like a lot of light and a lot of heat. And look at this beauty. This is a type of begonia. It says my full name is Begonia Rex, and it likes medium light, but this foliage is stunning. It's like iridescent. Look at that. What a beauty. It's also $5.98. Now, someone shared a tip with me during one of my houseplant videos, and they said that if you do purchase some of these plants, you see how they're growing really close together, and a lot of them have a lot of moisture in them. So it could be that they develop a little bit of a fungus gnat issue. Now, I haven't seen any while I'm walking around here, but the tip that someone shared with me is that if you take some of these plants home and you're afraid to get a fungus gnat infestation, is you can just keep them separate from all your other houseplants for about a month. Maybe keep it in a basement by a warm window or somewhere outside of where you have all your houseplants, just to monitor it and to make sure that there isn't an issue. And if there is, then you'd have to treat it. Now, fungus gnats are a little bit difficult to treat, but you could use something like a drop of Dawn dish soap dissolved in a lot of water, and that sometimes helps. People have different methods that you can search on the internet on how to take care of fungus gnats. They have those little sticky traps. I've actually seen some here before. If I do, I'll show you them. But look how pretty this one is here. It's called a snow white waffle plant. It almost looks like a vegetable, right? Like a lettuce. And look at this cutie. This is a fern. Now, I absolutely love ferns. They just don't love me back. They tend to really dry out in my house. I don't think I have enough humidity for them. This one's called a rosy maidenhair fern. So if you are a person that likes ferns, maybe you have a little bit more humidity in your house, this might be a good option. And for $5.98, no, this one's a little bit more. So this one's $7.98. But it's a really good size. Look at that. And if you're in need of some planters to repot some of those houseplants this winter, Lowe's has quite a selection. They have lots of beautiful ones to choose from. Look at this pretty little one with the faces on it. $6.98 and $7.28. And there's just many of them. Something to fit everyone's color choice and aesthetic. I like these at the bottom with the ridges in them, that center one, really pretty. This one here has a bit of a stone appearance and it has little feet on it. What's great about this one is that it's also really lightweight, because once you put soil in these and your plant and you're watering it, it can get pretty heavy to move around, so that's a really good option. This could even make a floor planter because of the little feet. You just might want to put something underneath it for drainage. And that says it's a 10.5-inch planter for $20.48. And they also have these macrame hangers. So if you wanted to hang a plant in your home, let's see how much these are. There's no price there. Oh, it looks like they're $8.98. These are so adorable. Look at that, those beautiful painted flowers on that porcelain planter. Gorgeous. There's also some plant stands. So if you're looking to put some plants on an elevated surface, there's a few different varieties. They have them in this black wrought iron color and also a cream color. Here are the cream colored stands. And some plant caddies. So if your plant's gotten too heavy with all of the soil and you need to move them around, these have some casters, which will make it a lot easier to move those heavy planters. Now, when it comes to plant care products, there's lots of things that you can use. Here you can see that there's some plant food. So when it comes to fertilizing your plants, typically between March and August is where houseplants like to be fertilized when they start putting on some active growth. But there are lots of different fertilizers that you can choose. Look, there's even a product to shine up your leaves. So if you have a plant that needs some cleaning. And there is liquid type feed or fertilizer that you can put mixed into your watering can. And there's also these varieties that are shaken feed. There's things like Osmocote, and then there's also these Miracle Grow types. Dr. Earth also makes a plant fertilizer. Here's the Osmocote. They have some for flowers and vegetables, and then outdoor and indoor. And these are slow release. So every time that you water your plants, these dissolve a tiny bit and feed your plant. This Osmocote here is, let's see, it looks like it is $16.98. And this is, it looks like it's a 2-pound size. Well, that brings us to the end of the January inventory here at Lowe's. I hope that you've enjoyed checking out the houseplants available at my store. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up button. And please consider subscribing so you don't miss any of my future videos. And we'll see you soon.